Buy things at gearwebsites.com.
Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every weeknight, and we talk about guns for an hour. So, we'll see what's happening. It is episode 1181, and it is Monday. So, we just started the show, even though I set it up a while ago. We'll see if it takes a while for people to get the alert, and we'll go over to guncalendars.com, where we attempt to archive firearms history on the daily. So today is the 28th, and let's see, we've got Gold Star Mom, Gold Star Family Day. Now I have that, let's see, coming up on Monday, but it's actually the last Sunday of September, so that would have been yesterday. So I just have it in the wrong place on this calendar, but there's different military days. I don't know if they're necessarily holidays, they're memorials or days of set aside. And this one is for Gold Star mothers. That means mothers of people who have fallen in the line of duty. And the idea is that you don't forget the family, the wake of the law of those who get lost fighting. So it's gone from moms to everybody else who might be in a similar relationship with a fallen soldier. So one of the reasons we do the gun calendars thing is to remember stuff like that, to get it out there. I'm sure some sources that are out there are going to mention things like that. Certainly some of the Instagram feeds that I follow posted about it. I reposted one on Sunday. But, that's one of those things that we have to be vigilant about remembering, because otherwise they can easily be forgotten. And not every single appreciation day is necessarily on the surface understood. But when you think about it, there's a heck of a lot of people affected by these things. So anyway, I appreciate them. So that's why we have them in the calendar. Let's see, we're about to hit the anniversary on the 30th of Arizona. Before we had before we had constitutional carry, one of the things the Citizens Defense League here did is make steps towards, I guess I never dropped it, is make step towards freedom, individual freedom, towards liberty. And in 2009, the year before constitutional carry was passed, they passed CCW and VARs. So whenever Arizona first got CCW, I forget, like 80 something, what happened is they had weird restrictions. And one of them was you couldn't carry if you were in a bar, even if you weren't drinking. And that didn't make much sense. There's states like Nevada where you can be drinking and still carry. They just you can't be drunk as well. So, and that's not a problem. It's always been like that. And people are just as responsible and normal when they're having a beer or having a drink or something as they would be when they're not. So that's a silly concession, silly, what's the word, compromise to make to anti-gunners. And the only reason for it is to make guns seem more dangerous, or like if you have a gun, you're more likely to be violent, and that's garbage, right? So I think that's an interesting one. It was a step towards constitutional carry, and I don't know if other states have carried that one on or not, but it was a baby step. It was a slippery slope in our direction, momentum towards freedom, right? So, yeah, the idea was that we couldn't carry if we, or if we were carrying, we couldn't go into a bar. And in Arizona, I think everywhere, that pretty much means like a Denny's that has a beer on the menu. I forget what the actual, where the line was drawn. I think it's 50% of their income or something. So, you could go into a place that had wine on the menu, but if you went into a place that had a bar and sit down chairs, you had to think about it. And you certainly couldn't go into a place that, had food, but also mostly bar. So anyway, that's the only thing I got on the calendar here, but I haven't updated the calendar in a bit. Stay tuned for that being updated. We had sort of a 2-month break there with a bunch of craziness and the big project going on, but I should be able to get back on track with the calendar, so we'll have more regular updates as part of this show too. All right, so like I said, this is a conversation. We got a bunch of people joining us tonight. I threw the link out there. I'll throw it out again. This is a conversation, though. It's not like a scripted presentation or anything, so feel free to be part of it, either texting out here like a bunch of people are doing or jump in and be part of it. So I think DJ is the first one to show up. No, Barbecue was the first one to show up today. And then DJ's out there. DTP is out there, and Patriot. So y'all can say hey to each other like y'all do usually. Gizzard's out there. John Brown. And Weston. I think I've got everybody. So a restaurant that serves alcohol and not consuming. Where can you get that? Oh, like a felony you can get for just minding your business, you mean? I get you. If you have a gun, you're probably more likely to shoot someone, seeing as it's hard to do without one. I guess technically, but what they're trying to suggest. Let's see. So the idea is I was dropping off I go to the post office in the middle of the night whenever possible so that I don't have to go in there and deal with their garbage. And they got these big drawers you can put packages into, and you can definitely put all the envelopes into there. So I just usually was doing all the packaging and shipping and everything during the day and night. And then right before they open, basically I would go over and offload whatever I had packaged up. And that was working fine until I got to the packages, the bigger packages, the 200 plus going out to everybody, out to the projects. So was it last night, I guess? This morning, last night, whatever you want to call overnight, I dropped off all the packages. I found a post office about halfway across town because I had so many packages, and it was Sunday night, right? I knew that, I found out that the boxes would be either full or almost full wherever I went because, that box is only about as big as a refrigerator, and it'll hold boxes and packages until it gets to a point where the trapdoor won't open anymore, and then it locks up. If you've ever used the post office thing, you know what I'm talking about. You got that big trash compactor looking thing that you put packages into. So I went to one, filled it. Second one, filled it. Third one, it wasn't a machine or a refrigerator. It was a, the drawer stuck on the side of a wall. And I could look through the mail slot right next to it and see that instead of having any kind of little tiny cart or anything, it had this really substantial cart. Anyway, I was able to put all the packages in there. So I was just super happy because I thought I'd be driving all over town, dropping one package in each robot all night long. So I dumped them all in there. And then I figured out about halfway through today, oh yeah, 2 of those were for UPS, not USPS. And that extra S in there makes a big ass difference, right? So I had dropped 2 UPS things into the mail. So that was Clover and Tony. And I was like, dang it. And that's because their freaking patches are monstrous. Some of you already know that. They're huge, right? So when you put 200 of theirs together, it cost me $40 to ship those each. So, I dropped them into the USPS. So I went back to the post office and waited around for a while in their line or whatever just to hang out. And then finally got up there. I think they closed at 5. I got there at 4:30. And I managed to talk my way into getting my boxes back. But FYI, the reason I'm bringing it up is just it was an interesting adventure I had today I didn't want. But also to let you know, if you ever do that, if for some reason you actually drop a UPS thing into the night drop at the mailbox place, at the at the post office, they won't care. I guess UPS picks stuff up at the post office, so they'll just hold it in a big pile until UPS shows up. The guy at the post office said they just don't show up all that often, so it's not like every day they're going to pick it up. But I guess you don't have to worry about it. If you actually evidently drop something UPS into regular mail, it'll get where it's going. I was kind of afraid they were going to return it to me, right? Like send it to my return address and then charge me whatever the hell it would have cost. If it was $40 with UPS, how much would it have cost in the regular mail? $70? It would probably cost me $70 to return to sender on that. Anyway, so I had a little adventure. The good news is then I took both the Tony's and Clover's package over to an actual UPS place, where it's supposed to go. And they got on that truck that day. So the guy was literally there, scanned them as I was handing them out or handing them over. They went right onto the UPS truck. Yeah, you haven't even seen. There's surprises still out there. There's lots of surprises there was surprises with the 13th patch and Clover's patch for everybody, and y'all blew those surprises, like you're supposed to, right? Y'all got to hit that pinata, but the other pinata that y'all don't know about still, nobody knows about. They're going to have to, they'll discover those when they get them, right? Worst part is how many people go through those places, believe in, talking about barbecues over here. Barbecue is like pizza. You got people that grow up eating whatever kind they think is their kind, and they think that's what there is. But they're all wrong. There's like wherever it actually came from. I don't remember where barbecue comes from. Barbecue come from like Cuba or Bahamas or someplace like that, I think. So like, some people on the planet are the only ones that ever actually made barbecue, and then the rest of everybody's just eating their weird Pizza Hut version of it. But there's a lot of people that grow up eating Papa John's or something probably and think it's good. Or maybe you could say the same thing about like bread, right? The way your grandma made bread or something is probably the way you like bread. And then every place you eat it that ain't like that, you're like, this place don't know how to make bread. Where's the crap? All right, well, I'll throw the link out here one more time. Here's the deal. I like doing this show because I like having a place to chat about guns and be real and not be afraid or be programmed by whatever they're telling us to worry about. But I don't like sitting here to just chat. I have no interest in just blabbing. It's not my thing. So I'll keep throwing the link out there and then we'll end it. Oh, looks like Angelina showed up too late to hear about how to ship. It's all right. She's out of the business anyway. I'm now printing, so it's just a matter of time. Over her patch business. Maybe you could do nails. You could print out little emblems and things to put on girls' nails. You could get into that business. Yep. I don't know if there could be favorites out of it, but is anybody, I don't know, like I say, I'm sitting here bored. I'm looking at the wall, fiddling with this little rubber thing I bought. And now we got somebody joining. It's an actual conversation. Is this going to happen? Hey, thanks for joining.
Great to be here, man. Got a quick question since we're talking about guns tonight. Got a question about North American Arms Frames from Provo. Looking here underneath the cylinder, and I'm seeing it's either a single letter or two letters, and then a series of digits. Are you aware of their scheme for serializing?
Oh no. I mean there is, and but you don't need to know it because there's a forum. You can go to their website and go to whatever the link is now for the forum, and then somewhere in there, it's either. Well, I'm sure that it's in there, but it has been archived before. People have talked about that kind of thing. The only thing is I can think of is their forum's been around for a while, and it might be like in the third iteration of the forum, maybe at least the second one that I'm aware of. Like I know that I had a lot of posts. Like I was one of the main contributors back when I was still collecting real hard. And that's when they changed their software and started over and pulled some of the stuff across. But at that point, I was kind of not collecting as much. So I've never really came back as much. So anyway, with all that said, I'm not sure when I saw the list and if the list is one of the things that moved from the old forum to the new, but I got to assume that you're not the only one asking that question. I've never had enough that was like, you know, where I paid attention to my serial numbers, I guess. So I never got too much into it. I might have asked the question during the tour because we, you know, when you're just standing around looking at stuff, think of questions to ask or whatever. I know that he had brought up personalizing the serial numbers, and we were kind of standing around where the serial numbers happen. And I know we were talking about it, and I'm pretty sure I have most of the audio. It's not good audio, but I have most of the audio in that video. So wherever the video is, there's only one video I think I posted with the tour of North American Arms. It could be in there if you're looking for something to listen to. Otherwise, I would go to that forum and try searching for serial number lists or something. And that's why I never bothered to memorize it. But I also don't have enough where I've never had that kind of thing. I know that at least one of the people who is on that forum was one of the big collectors from NAA, enough that they know the guy. He buys every model they make with like a certain serial number. So they basically at this point know that if they make a new model, that they hold that serial number for him. He doesn't really even have to ask. They just do it for him now. And that he might not even be the only one because I know they've got a lot of avid collectors. But more than likely, it's just some sort of, you know, rotating letter scheme where they, you know, get to AA and they last numbers and then they go to AB and then AC. But I'm just guessing.
I'll check into both of those. I appreciate the leads on that. It kind of threw me for a loop because the first three characters seem to be from a regular stamp of some kind, but the ones that follow almost they echo like Electra pencil or something. They're all digits, and they're just not as tight, and they trail a little bit both into and out of each figure.
Oh yeah, I'll bet you then that it's like they do a whole bunch of them because I've seen. Well, if you watch that video, those, and I don't know if other people have done tours over there, but they do them in like giant batches of stuff. So they'll have like a big tray of receivers, and you know it's sort of an issue because as soon as you serialize them, then they're guns. So they probably have to be taken. You know, I'm sure they have to be dealt with differently once they serialize them. But I'll bet you they can pre-serialize them. You know, put the SN or the FN or the TN or whatever the two letters are going to be, and then, you know, have a tray where they know there's going to be 1,000, I guess. You know, if they have a 4-digit rotating thing, whatever their thing is, you know, they could prep them like that. I would say they could even do like the first two letters in like 01 or something if they knew it was, you know, that range or whatever. But anyway, I'll bet they do the regular numbers, just some dude sitting there. So it's probably like how much he's concentrating or how busy he is or how fast he's trying to go.
I wonder if someone's also keeping, I'm sorry, I wonder if some other collector is keeping track of who it is that has a certain style of penmanship in the application of those numbers. I also am a big fan of collecting musical instruments and guitars in particular. And there are people who know, for instance, with the Fender inspectors at their plant in Corona, California, people recognize and now call individual parts inspected by 3 different women, so-and-so's part or so-and-so's neck or body or whatever. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear you. So there's like I met just from the looking at the place, North American Arms, I would say that could totally be like some dude's job, or maybe even like, you know, those 3 people in that department do it. So it could be something like that, and I could totally see something where the collectors keep track or like get to that level of detail because they totally nerd out on that. And NAA is really cool. I mean, they have their own forum. It's not like somebody else does the forum and NAA looks at it. Like NAA hosts it. They foster that environment of people caring that much. So I wouldn't be surprised. I have a friend that when we were all little, he went to guitar school, how to build a guitar, and but wooden guitars, like how to whittle them and hone them, or I don't know, steam them. They do all kinds of weirdness because it's all old fashioned type of techniques and stuff. And then he worked at some place, a couple of places actually. I don't know. I would keep track, but it's like cars or something. I know that he was a guitar dude, and if I heard the names, I'd probably know. I think they're the ones with W's in them. But anyway, he was the kind of thing I think you're talking about. At least, I don't know, maybe not Fender. I don't know. Is Fender one of them companies that has a lines made overseas and then certain ones made here?
Oh yeah, certainly. Many locations overseas. North America has production plants in Mexico starting in the 80s, and they've had production in Japan for about 30 plus years, as well as now several things in Southeast Asia. There's a Thai plant, there's a Filipino plant, and for a while they were in somewhere else. About the only place they haven't been is Vietnam, because they've been north in China as well and are still producing there.
Yeah, right on. I remember him talking about the imports, and they had to deal with them, and that was a big thing because they made money on them or what, but nobody liked them as much as the ones that they built there. And anyway, I just, when you said that, I was like, yeah, I totally know what you mean, or I can understand what you mean, where people are going to pay attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, we do with guns too. People know which inspectors inspected which Garands and carbines and things, I think.
Absolutely, good point.
Also, we got Barbecue jumping in here, and Angelina jumped in. Do both of you get what's coming to you yet ever? I know that you got one of the packages in California, and I think Barbecue got everything. But did you ever get that one that was hanging?
No, I think that went back to you, but I did get one today. I don't know. Are you allowed to talk about it, or?
Well, the one you got today is just the patch badge, right?
Well, yeah, but is it like a secret still, or?
No, everybody started getting them on. I sent them to all my friends last week. They got them on Friday or whatever. And people can talk about it now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then yeah, I did get that. Super cool. I like that. That pistol. Whose is that?
That is Katie, the Truth, or Aiming for the Truth, or No Other Choice, or the Train and Learn. So anyway, yeah, he was I was hoping he would do something for Aiming for the Truth, but I guess that didn't really need a patch. That isn't the kind of thing where people are like, oh, I need a patch. So came up with a gun idea because I wanted to have a gun in it. Plus, I don't like little tiny gun ones, right? I figure that's a good size for a gun.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I don't know. Should I have done the thing in glow in the dark? I was thinking after the fact. You know how it is. I'm like, dang it, I probably should have done the yellow part in glow in the dark. It would have been pointless, but it would have been extra,
That's I always go back and forth on that, and I feel like I always miss the opportunity to make a good glow. But I mean, it's whatever. You could always special edition version 2 glow.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna need special editions. Everybody has 200, so they'll never need them again. Hopefully. What do you think of that laptop one? Now you're jealous you never did a laptop like that? You're only doing TVs like the olden days?
Yeah, that was a pretty unique perspective on it. And the keys they came out real good for the size. You could tell it filled good.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that they got that weird perspective and shade and everything. And I'm like, that's cool. Either it happened accidentally or they really know what they're doing and it came out pretty neat.
I really like that that lady one. It's like a government building and a lady mixed.
Oh, the DC project? Yeah, I didn't have nothing to do with that one, so I don't appreciate it as much as the ones that I make. No, I hear you, though. It's pretty neat. A lady. They thought it was a Capitol building.
I like that.
I didn't realize the silhouette was there.
He's like, oh, I'm going to throw away that one. It's just the Capitol building, like that refrigerator magnet from the Capitol. I'm like, nope, that's the DC project. But I only know it because I knew it like that. I guess if you didn't think about it, it does kind of look like maybe just in the shadow or something, right? Like, you know, like he's trying to be artsy or something. But unless you're looking for it, I think the Capitol side comes out that first.
It's pretty rad. Like how that came out. I also Riding Shotgun with Charlie, really like that. I like black and white patches though. Like some designs really shine in black and white, and that's definitely one of them.
So there's surprises there that I'm not going to talk about, but everybody's got their stuff coming to them except for Clover and Tony, because UPS, you know, they don't care. They'll just get things whenever they get them. They don't know. They'll put it in a car, and if somebody remembers to take it out of the car, the next guy will get it.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff is those fixed rate boxes. So those all got shipped yesterday or today, I guess. It's this morning. So they could possibly have them tomorrow even or the next day, because they're all 2-day, right?
Usually.
But anyway, so that's wait. No, Tony's got surprises. Clover doesn't have any surprises. He knows that though. But yeah, so I got to wait for basically UPS before I can talk about the rest of the things, because those are all for them. You know, you're not going to see them. They might not even tell anybody. I'll have to spoil them.
Might be secrets.
I bet that one of them won't, just because they're not going to talk. They've never talked about it. So, like the Connecticut one, they probably won't talk about it. Never said anything about it. I think we only had like 5 people from Connecticut in the whole project. I wonder if I could do a sort. But I'm just thinking how many times I typed, because I had to type the state every time. So think about that. I had to type the state 400 times. That's basically 800 letters I had to type. Capitals. So sometimes I had to hold down a shift key while I was doing it. Anyway, I don't remember having to type Connecticut as many times as you'd think. You know what I typed a lot? Kansas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Kansas, but they participated quite a bit.
What about California?
California, yeah, but got like 40 million people in California, so you know, like it's kind of to be expected. You gotta, you know, you're supposed to be pulling a bit of the weight. But yeah, a lot of Californias, hardly any Arizonas. Those always get me because I feel like I'm getting ripped off. Some shipping stuff, I could just drop it off to them, you know. Because I noticed the Arizonas. Anyway, now we got a whole bunch of people in here. We don't have to keep talking about shipping, even though I titled it Master Shipping Secrets. If you have any shipping secrets, or the only shipping secret I have, I guess, is that one. If you ever accidentally drop UPS stuff into the regular mail, don't worry about it. They'll just take it. They'll eventually get it. They won't charge you nothing. I don't know if you ever do it. I dropped I don't know if you heard that. I dropped 2 UPS things into the night drop box thing. So I remembered it at like 4 o'clock. So I ran over there at like 4:30 and got those boxes back, and then took them over to the UPS place just in time for the last truck of the day. So they ended up going out today anyway, but I had to I'm going to go out and do this in the middle of the night so I don't have to drive around in the middle of the day and stand in line. So I did both. Drove around in the middle of the night and got up in the middle of the day, waited in line. So
nice.
A lot of people won't do the extra effort of doing both, being efficient and then going and wasting like an effing time in the middle of 100-degree day also. I'm willing to do both. But I didn't want to get the return. I was really afraid they were going to return to sender on me. $70 for each box, because these were like the giantest patches that wouldn't even fit in a fixed rate box. So they cost me $30 with UPS, and that translates into UP, like post office money is like $70, right?
Oh hell
like
yeah!
If you try to deliver an envelope with UPS, $2,000. You deliver 7,000 pounds of bricks with UPS, 50 cents. Like they don't even care. Like, oh, give us giant boxes. We'll just take those and give you money. You try to send us an envelope, fuck you, we're going to take your firstborn kids. I don't understand it. And mail's the other way around. Mail's like, oh shit, we'll take anything little. As soon as you give us something big, It's $1 million. Like, we can't handle anything big. And then what sucks the most nuts is that as soon as you pay one of them and the other, they all give each other their packages anyway. And UPS is always flying around with mail, and mail's always flying around with UPS. They don't care. They're just laughing at us the whole time. Well, laughing at most of the suckers, but that's the secret. Just figure out which one's cheaper and go with the cheap one all the time. I really like that software because now, even though it's goofy now, it automatically gives you the cheapest one. You don't have to think about it. I don't know if it did.
Are you talking about Shippo?
I don't want to give all my secrets or nothing, but I'm using a thing. I'm using a thing that you're familiar with.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
they switched everything around or whatever a while back. And, you know, back in the day, it was technically possible for you to be given, here's your one option. But then if you dug around, you could find another option for like 50 cents cheaper, maybe. But it would take longer, whatever. There was some reason they gave you the one option. But now, like the way that they have it set up now, at least for what I've been doing, boom, like here's the cheapest option. You don't even have to look. And that's, for me, that's pretty nice. Oh, let's see. I like how the riding shotgun one has the corners go in. Well, that's supposed to be like the back of a windshield, or not a windshield, but the back window of a pickup truck. So that's the deal there. And then I guess the shotgun's supposed to be like it sitting in the back window of a pickup truck, right? Oh, yeah, that's what you said right there.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I like it. It came out great.
I was also looking at it, and I'm like, dang, I never even thought about it. But Liberty Doll's got 2 guns in hers, kind of behind her. And then Riding Shotgun's got a shotgun in his. Skip's Tactical, the K is a gun. And then CCDL is a gun. So I was like, dang, there's a whole ton of guns in these things. Because at first I was, and then GunTube has a gun in it. Because at first I was like, yeah, we only have one gun thing, really. You know, teddy bear, and then a flag. You know, it's like all this stuff that isn't even guns. And I'm like, yeah, actually, wait a minute. There's like 8 guns in this thing. All right, well, start talking about that again. Any other gun news? Any other gun conversation to have? That's got very determined.
I'm trying to find the window so I could type a secret in the side, but I lost the screen. Oh, I found it.
When I sent you the thing, I think I didn't send you extras, right? I just sent you the 13 or whatever itself, right? Because I think I already figured I had sent you other stuff in that other one.
Oh yeah. Like it was like the pack. I was looking at it as I was running out the door because I had an appointment to get to.
But it wasn't like I jammed a bunch of other stuff in there with it. I think I just sent you one that was like a generic one that I had packed. It wasn't like a special one or anything, right?
Yeah, it's like a normal one. Like no hidden $100 bills or anything.
So that way you got to see it. However, they went out to everybody too. So you can learn a little something. Learn a little bit about presentation.
I really enjoyed the color of the bubble mailer.
You got a teal one. I ended up sending about half in teal. And then I was thinking to myself, I'm burning through all my teal ones and everybody likes these. And then I specifically bought other ones that were just blue I normally use. So about halfway in, I think, I decided to switch over and burn through like 200 of the just blues. And now I don't remember what I got left. I have an unopened box, like whatever's. And I have like 10 of the teals left. And I don't even think I have a full pack of 20 blues. So I don't even know what my next color is going to be. It's probably blue, though. I don't, unless I bought white. I might have bought white like a sucker. I was thinking I might stick something on the other side of it. But I don't know.
Need orange ones.
They don't exist. Have you seen them ever?
Yeah, actually, I did find them, and then they were sold out of them, and they were like the size that I like. They're like a little tiny bit bigger, so you can get more stuff in them. But they were sold out, and then I haven't seen them back since. But I haven't looked for them, in fairness.
I haven't looked in a while. I looked for, I had to replace what I had. I think I burned through like 300 of whatever I had from whatever, I just had them. And then from whatever project in the past. So I bought 500 or something. So anyway, whenever I went to buy, I think I told you, they were actually kind of tough to find. Like normally you just stumble all over them everywhere. And now every place has them, but they're all sold out of the big quantities. But it makes sense. I guess people are shipping a lot of stuff, using all that plastic for gloves and masks, the important things.
Right.
Oh, I did find
Hey,
an
G,
orange today. Yeah, go ahead.
do you have an airport nearby?
Well, yeah. Air Force Base, we have Tucson Airport.
No,
but then,
a commercial airport.
yeah, we have Tucson Airport.
Do you know whether or not they have a USPS station at that airport?
They may, but the way that it's laid out, I think you pretty much don't get much choice to walk around in it anymore. Like it would all be behind security, I think, because there's barely the tickets, and the way I'm trying to think, I haven't been in the airport in a long time, but I think it's just the tickets, and then everything else in our airport is behind security. So I'd have to go in and go through security. Can you go through security anymore without a ticket?
I'm not aware of that, but in the greater complex of the commercial airport here in Omaha, it's called that's the Air Force Base. Sorry, it's Strategic Air Command is in Bellevue. We have Offutt and FedEx and USPS and one other like DHL, I think. They're on the grounds, but they have a separate entrance. They're like warehouses that line the inside the fence of the airport. And they're 24 hours. All of those folks are. And when I worked in a product fulfillment company for software, I don't know how many times I went out there 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and dumped off, up to half a pallet of packaged boxes.
Oh, snap. Okay, good. I'll keep that in mind for next time I have to do something like that. Because I'm actually, as far as I drove around, kind of doing post, there's like post offices every 4 miles or something in town. I drove probably as far or more than I would have if I just went to the airport. So I'll keep that in mind for sure. Because now that you're saying that, our airport is definitely that kind of airport. There is the main place where the passengers go. And then there's, I don't even know, I can't even count how many other entrances there are to our airport. There's tons because there's all kinds of weird stuff going on in our airport. So I could totally see there being a separate entrance like you're talking about. Or over where the rental cars are. Like maybe there's something over there because that's sort of like, I don't know what to call it, like an old separate little thing that's connected to the airport, but it's definitely not before, it's behind, it's in front of security because it's all outside.
Yep, check it out.
They could just wing packages over the fence and then they'll think they dropped them, pick them up, put them on their little scooter thing. There's this one place where I don't know the company, I think it's, so anyway, it's one of the airplane companies though, and they have whatever the airframe is, whatever the airplane is, but it's got a different jet on it almost every time you go by it. And they're always it's on the ground. I don't know if it's stapled to the ground or what, but it doesn't really go anywhere. But they're always putting jets on this thing and blowing it off. And it's right next to the road. So that's kind of neat. You can just drive right next to this giant airline jet going. Well, it doesn't actually go that often, but you're driving really close to an airline engine. All right. Well, I was saying before, I went to the store and found orange Sharpies. I don't think I've ever seen those before, or at least not in unless you buy a set of all the dumb colors, like 75 colors or something.
Wait, what? Where'd you find those?
So I don't know if you have Family Dollars. I think it was a Family Dollar, the ones that are really $1, not bogus fake dollar store, but a real green, Family Dollar. I think it's the one in green, right? It's not Dollar General, and it isn't.
Dollar Tree is the green one.
No, it's not Dollar Tree. Then it's no wait.
Everything's $1.
Dollar Tree. Everything's $1. Yeah. So I don't go in there that often, but I was in there looking to see if they had some stuff, and it's because of Halloween. I think they had black. Well, that was black, I guess, but they had black and orange ones right up front with a bunch of other Halloween crap. So I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen orange ones by themselves before. And I knew I could at least piss off people on the internet by posting pictures of them on Instagram. So I grabbed a set.
I have one of those ones that has that like sharpened piece of G10 in it.
Yeah. Does that work? Have you jabbed it in anything?
Yeah, I've stabbed a couple things with it. It's pretty cool, but it's an orange, so it's like
I mean, it looks like it's an orange felt tip, but it's really G10 shaved or sharpened or whatever it's called.
yeah. But you could like definitely like remove an eye with it. It's pretty cool.
I like them.
Help me out. G10.
G10 is just basically fiberglass. So take like jeans or some kind of paper or something, and you just fiberglass it up, squish it, and that's G10. I mean, I guess it's probably some specific resin and some specific fiber, but a lot of DIY make your own G10 scales or something, or just take a bunch of scraps of jeans or camouflage pants or something and get fiberglass resin and swipe it on there and take a piece of wax paper, put it down, put a bunch of layers of that stuff like lasagna, and then put a book or something on top, another piece of wax paper and a bunch of like a book or something, or a bunch of books on top. It'll all squish, the resin will harden, and then you got like basically like a tiny little piece of plywood made out of whatever material you put in there. But I guess, like I say, G10 would probably be some sort of nylon woven stuff with some specific resin. But basically, that's what we're talking about, is some sort of reinforced resin situation. But it looks like, if it's the ones I've seen, they look just, I mean, physically, they look a lot like what's the wick made out of? Like some kind of nylon fabric or something that the normal Sharpie, nib or whatever it's called is made out of. They look just like it, except sharp.
Real Sharpie, but a sharp one.
And
I really like G10 grips.
Huh?
Said I really like G10 grips.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a man-made material, hard material, weather resistant. And then, of course, since it has very little grain or anything, it's just mainly a epoxy using something to keep it together. You can grind it or stipple it or shave it, shape it however you want. Anyway, because it has no metal, you can take those things and wherever you need to go. It's just like having a Sharpie in your pocket. If they open it, it's not like having a big metal spike in there. It looks like a sharp Sharpie, really, unless somebody knows what they're looking for really good. They're just gonna, and I guess if they tried to write with it, nothing's gonna happen because they rip the paper, I guess. But a Sharpie is good just without, with just a regular Sharpie, just to have in your hand and be able to poke at somebody or manipulate or put pressure and stuff like that can be very, 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 very useful. So having a Sharpie, especially a full size, big fat Sharpie, is useful. But these kind, the one you're talking about, I'm sure has some kind of, again, like resin or something filling the whole body of the thing. So not only has it got a sharp tip, but it's strong. So, it's like attached to the rest of the body, right? So you can jab it into something. It's not going to snap in your hand.
Yeah, it's pretty beefy.
Or at least it's not like a hollow marker body or anything with just a thing stuck in it. They usually fill them up with something. But they're not heavy. They're just solid. They're not hollow. I just happen to be looking at those things too, I guess. Or else Instagram threw them at me for some reason. What do you think about the new Instagram where as soon as you get done looking at what you've already seen, it starts just recommending things to you?
It shows me weird stuff.
Yeah, it's desperate because I mess with it the same way I mess with YouTube. So it doesn't know what to show me. It knows what not to show me pretty good, but it doesn't know what to show me. It does show me guns more than if I click on is it the magnifying, whatever that second thing over I never click on to go search. That is horrible. That's always dumb crap for kids or something. Definitely not for me. But when you just scroll down and you get past your pictures you've already seen, then it's at least more gun related. But often it's like people I hate, like people I don't like. Like I'm like, there's a reason I've never looked at this. Like, don't fucking show this to me. But at least it's on topic.
It shows me, I mean, I see a lot of gun stuff on it, but then I also see a lot of like child stuff, and I don't give a shit about kids, so I don't know why it should be that.
You mean like, here's my kids at the beach or something, or like,
Yeah,
here's some
like
kids playing in the sand or something.
like mommy and me shit, like fucking
Well,
kids.
that's what people burn.
It must be, because I don't know why you think I don't want to see that.
Maybe the AI has decided it's your time. You should start thinking about motherhood.
Ugh, I don't know about that.
How long before it's not your opportunity? Maybe it's not your decision anymore until it's the, it takes a village. So why not use Facebook to determine it's got pretty good AIs? How long
Until
before?
like it pulls like a Jesus on you.
No, it'll be like, we think that you can pick from these two dudes, and then the dudes get like, we think you can pick from these three chicks, and then they obviously influence it, so you don't really get a choice, but they'll act like you get a choice, and then you're like, okay, we'll marry this person or whatever, and then they're like, tap tap, like, guess what? Now it's time for y'all to start having kids, and then the AI just predetermines these kind of decisions for everybody.
I think that's already happening because they have like a dating thing now.
Yeah, exactly. So who would think that the dating thing is like completely random, arbitrary, whatever? It's just like Facebook, probably. Like, we've decided we need more kids over here. So therefore, these people are getting married and they're having kids. I think if it's safer, I think people go for it.
I don't know. Maybe in this new time, in new times, it's going to be happening.
As he's opening his package right now. You think it would be possible to make three-dimensional rubber, like have a holster made out of rubber, but then still have Velcro on it?
Like a big patch, but it's a holster?
Yeah, I'm thinking more like, well, I guess it would be, you could do like a pancake holster. It would look weird having it out of rubber instead of leather, but yeah, just have like, I wonder if they could do that. They'd have to jam something in maybe while they're, I don't know if they could make that. It would be different. I don't think they'd make it the same way. You'd have to make like a rubber toy, just have a flat side on it, and then try to sew Velcro to that, I guess.
Yeah, stitch like a giant Velcro to that.
What's this all about? I noticed today that hands-free video in stories only let me do 1:15. Doesn't let me keep going. I don't know what that means. Oh, is stories the circle parts? I
Yeah.
don't know what hands-free video is. 15 seconds. That's lame. Although I see people, I don't know. I hit the stories because if there's nothing on Instagram, I'll hit the circles, right? And then if I see something that I'm in, I know somebody's like always got a good circle, I'll hit the circles. And then I just let the circles run. Because half the time you can't do nothing about it anyway. They're just whipping through all the, you hit one and it just starts flipping through the circles like you wanted to see all of them. So I end up seeing stuff in the circles that I had no interest in often, like all the time actually. And so I see people who, like you put in like a thing. I think the most I've ever seen you have in there is like 6 or 4. Like, but that's unusual. Like normally you have like 1 or 2 or 3 at the most at a time. But then you ever been to these people where they've got like 25 of them in there always, and either they're talking for like 45 minutes and it's like it breaks every 15 seconds because they're talking for 45 minutes straight, or they're, I don't know, got nothing else to do except play on Instagram all day, so they have like 1,000 actual individual things. But there's definitely those people, and I've seen them do stuff that I'll bet you is at 15 seconds because you can't even, like, you have to leave stories with those people. You can't even click next enough times because they got like 700 things in there. You'd be breaking your thumb knuckle trying to next all their damn shit.
Yep, everyone's got at least one of those on their list.
So I don't think, or maybe that's what he's talking about. Like if they drop that, because that could be just their little game to play. Like, hey, let's make it where the stories that used to be 30 seconds are only 15, because that makes people get pissed first or faster or less or something.
Well, didn't they do 10? I think they've increased the time.
I really don't pay attention. I don't really use it. I guess I've used it, but I mainly go live And then I go live the normal way, I guess, where you just hit the little thing and you hit the, anyway, you go over to the left a bunch of times and then it basically goes live. And then you could be live for like an hour. I go to that live and then it goes to the circles. I have no idea how to just make a 15-second circle. Like, I don't know how to do that. I've never actually done that. So I don't know if they're 10 or 15 or 30 or what they are. But if you get one of these people like I'm talking about, where they've got, he's saying you can skip through the stories by tapping the right side. Oh, or swipe left. I didn't know what that may be. Because if you try typing or tapping right, or whatever it's called, they've got like 700 things. You're going to have to type 701 times before you get to the next one.
Yeah, you got to keep like jamming your finger.
But half the time, for however it works out, either probably because I leave then, because I'll never finish that, those people always get stuck to my right, let's say. So if I start looking at the circles and they're on auto, by the time I get to those people, that's all there is. So I just leave stories again. So I think it works out. But I also almost never pay attention. I'll look at a phone, but I'm not going to sit there reading it or something. There's people that write whole big paragraphs in the circles. What the hell? It's like jamming a square thing in a round thing for no reason, just because you can do it. No one wants to read shit on Instagram. Go right Twitter. All right, well, now we've gone first circle, and we're at 51 minutes. So we got 12 people out there. All kinds of conversations waiting to happen. Mystic is out there. I was actually, outlaw, or wait, yeah, outlaw Anfield. I don't think we got anybody else out there.
What you just said?
What's that?
Did you say Ellis is out there?
No, but I was on his show on Monday, and for some reason, I knew they knew each other. I'm like, but Ellis was like, who the hell is Mystic? Or he was acting like, hey, Mystic, welcome to the internet. And this is called a live chat, and you can chat with us. And then I'm like, why are you acting like that? Don't you know each other? Like, haven't you met each other? But I didn't realize that she had changed her name after Ellis took off. I don't remember when he left, like 7 years ago or something, it seems like. So anyway, I was on his show, and then at some point, he figured out who she was. Oh, guess what I got today? See, Willed and Well Armed is out there. So I went to that Family Dollar or whatever. I went to this other dollar store that doesn't have a name. It's just like Chinese lady, maybe her family owns this place, and it's one of the best dollar stores ever, and they got all kinds of weird stuff in there. So I go in there every once in a while. And I was coming back from that other post office, right? Which I don't normally do. So I was like, oh shit, if I'm out, I'm going to go to this weird dollar store, right? It's like the kind of dollar store where you're going to find a Kremlin. It's that kind of dollar store. It's pretty awesome. So next, 3 stores down from it is a number of like a, big box dollar store, Family Dollar, where I do my normal shopping. So I was in the Family Dollar looking around, and I don't know if you're a connoisseur of the dollar stores, but Family Dollar is the kind where I feel like they always have things like they'll build to, we're going to have this, we're going to have that, but they have a lot of interesting stuff. They've got as much stuff as a Walmart, I think, just not wasting their time with 7 different versions of stuff, right? So they'll have construction paper, and they'll have orange juice, and they'll have forks, and they'll have bed sheets probably. So they got all kinds of stuff in this Family Dollar, Family Dollar. So I was basically just leaving, and I was walking down the toy aisle to get out of there, and they had a little tiny van, Matchbox car, which is unusual because normally they don't bother making the awesome vehicles into Matchbox cars, just cars. So, but it was that little kind of European van that they drive around in airports and inside a building sometimes. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's not really a go-kart, and it's got a motor in it, so it's not a golf cart, but it's a van, but it's not like it could fit inside of my van. So they had a Matchbox car of that, and I'd never seen that before. So I was looking at it and took a picture of it. And then right next to it, they had, and I think it said it's a series, so it was one of a series, but it was a wheelchair. and it was all decked out like some kind of, I don't know, it's like maybe a basketball player, wheelchair basketball player dude. And I don't know if it's legit or if it's some like comic book version of a basketball player, because I don't know shit about basketball. But anyway, I thought that was cool as hell. So anyway, Wheeled and Well Armed is out there, and then I happened to see that. I don't think, have you ever seen a Hot Wheels that's wheelchairs? Anyone?
I don't ever look at Hot Wheels.
No, I've never seen one.
I only look at them because I'm looking for a van. One day I'll find a white van, a good one, and then I'll buy them because they're going to be $1 because I'll find them at a dollar store. But not yet.
That's a total like boy thing. Like every guy I know is always like, "Oh, I went to Target and they had Hot Wheels, and I got this one." It's like,
I don't buy them. I mean, I did buy these, but I don't normally buy them because I don't like. I like a lot of people stick them on their wall or play with them or something. I bought these to put in Patreon stuff just because I haven't seen a van before or a wheelchair before. But I only look because I know they must. Oh, they also make El Caminos, and eventually I'll grab an El Camino if I ever see one. It's like what the hell would it be like for girls?
like
It's like
hair.
a wedding dress. It's like wedding dresses. Like every time you go to a store, you're gonna look at the wedding dresses. But it's only every once in a while you're gonna buy one. But you can appreciate that they have a bunch of different ones. That's all. It's just like
I see.
I feel like I do a good job of mansplaining to the girls in this chat, which a lot of the chats don't bother. They'll just talk right over all the girls. They don't even bother to condescend to them.
Now I know to compare Matchbox cars to wedding dresses.
Let's see, how many grounds I buy? None. I did buy 2 things, but I'm gonna try to hork money off of them. I'm not gonna act like I bought them at the dollar store. I'm gonna act like I bought them at some fancy store, but I'm gonna then hork on them and then try to sell them for more money than the dollar I paid for them or whatever. No, I ended up buying this is the weirdest dollar store ever. I can only tell in an off-air secrets chat what I actually bought. But and then what else did I buy?
Oh my God, there's like dollar stores here that you would be blown the F away in that I think are like what you're describing.
Probably. Like before there were dollar stores. I don't know if you're not old enough to know this, but there was before Walmarts and before like other things, like before the big stores came. And it was just, you'd go to a town and what was the name of that place? There was one chain that was all around, but otherwise, if you went into a town, you basically were going to go to a different grocery store. Like every town you ever went to was a different, like whoever's family owned the grocery store. That was the name of the grocery store. It wasn't until, I don't know, maybe in the middle of the 90s, it seems like, that you could find a Walmart everywhere. But I can remember doing road trips on my own, like driving my own vehicle around. And I remember going to towns with no Walmarts and towns that barely had like a McDonald's or something. Like all the stores were, local something. But back in those days, the dollar stores were crazy because they were basically whoever had like some kind of an agreement or contacts in the Orient, and it would just be this crazy stuff, and it would be the cheapest crap always too, but also the weirdest stuff. So you could get like a name, like a non-name brand, like the spelling is wrong, like English, like not even correct spelling of words.
Yeah.
But you get like a cassette tape for your car for like $15, when like at a normal store it would cost $300 or something. And like it was rolling the dice. Sometimes those things were just as good. Like not half the time, but sometimes they were just good. So anyway, I can remember dollar stores back in the day for toys and crap when I was a little kid were way better than Toys R Us. Way better.
A lot of the oh my God. So downtown Chinatown, right? All their like little discount stores sell secret fireworks.
Yeah. See, that would be, I don't remember. Well, if they did, I didn't know about it. But I don't think in the middle of the Midwest they were selling fireworks is all. But but definitely probably the same kind of loot, like the same kind of suppliers or whatever. Whatever dollar stores do now, I guess. Just that back then that was totally unique or totally different. But then also, like, you can get these weird red pickles there. Like they have other things that aren't just from here that I don't know. I guess somebody goes there. It's sort of like going to a Middle East store. You ever go to a Middle East store, food store, like a Middle East grocery store?
Yes.
Like their candy's different, their bread's different. Olives is like a whole aisle, right? Like it's just a totally different kind of store. Almost everything's good. Not everything, but almost everything's good. Although like dollar stores aren't, everything's not always good. Like there's some really gross stuff in there. And I don't know, I don't know. You probably have the same thing as here. Back when I was a kid at these stores, the candy was like from, I don't know, China or Japan or someplace. But now the candy's all from Mexico or somewhere else. That's might as well, somewhere even south of Mexico, because I don't know what the hell it is, but it's always like not candy. It's sour, or salty, or something. It's not sweet though.
Oh, I'm surprised it hasn't always been that way, because Arizona, because that's how it's always been.
Well, in Arizona, yeah. But I'm saying when I was a little kid, I wasn't in Arizona. Well, back then, in fact, I went to weird dollar stores that were like from Europe, I guess, because it would be weird chocolates and like gummy shit back before gummy stuff was on regular stores. Like you could get weird gummy stuff at like the Polish version of a dollar store, let's say.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my grandma's from Italy, so like she would always want to go to the like, I don't know how to describe them other than like third world influenced grocery stores. I guess international grocery stores.
Yeah.
But
they're literally the best. The best.
We would always go to like where there would be like a whole fucking like dead lamb in the butcher's case, and they're like cutting off hunks of it and shit, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then somebody be arguing about it. Like, no, I want more of the leg part, not the knee, or whatever the hell they're saying to each other. Yeah.
There's this like hilarious family story that my family tells about how I got taken to one of those as a little kid, and I heard like these guys yelling at each other in Italian, and because I heard them, like I heard words I knew, so then I started relaying words that I knew, like just saying it out loud to them. But my grandma found it like hilarious to teach all the little kids in the family all like the bad words. So I start yelling like fuck your mother, shit like that at these guys, and they're just like what the fuck, because there's like this little kid yelling at them.
Well, that's where it comes from then.
Yeah, that's where it started.
You got attention from just standing up and swearing as a youngin', so now you get your attention from swearing all the time.
Yep, that's why I do.
All your positive reinforcement comes from swearing.
Yep.
Yeah, Woods is talking about buying swords. That's exactly the kind of place. Like if you're going to go get Chacos and Chinese stars and stuff, that's the kind of place you need to go to.
Oh yeah, China.
So I don't know about fireworks under the counter, but like they'd have all the Nerf crap out for the moms, and then you'd be like, you'd go there without your mom, and then you'd be like, hey, you got the metal ones? And they'd be like, hell yeah. They'd pull out like a thing of all the metal ones. That was the best. I felt like you were in some kind of kid James Bond world where you're like, got the secret access or whatever. That was pretty fun. So maybe they did have fireworks. We just didn't know to ask. I feel like a sucker.
When's the last time you've been to like a good Chinatown? And I mean LA, Chicago, or New York?
Vegas. I go to Vegas for vegan stuff in Chinatown. And it's like I'm the only one that's not, from Chinatown. Like when I go there, or when I go to that one. So that's going. I think where you stayed the one time, going toward west from there, kind of that north and maybe a little bit south, and then west from where we were at, or from the Strip.
Oh yeah, I mean theirs is okay, but like you go LA Chinatown way better. But that's
I've only driven around the Koreatown looking at where the riots were, but I didn't like stop and go anywhere. It was too hard to park. Giant van in LA is like doesn't make.
You can get all kinds of like ninja stars and like secret fireworks, all kinds of stuff in LA Chinatown. Swords.
There's this one here that is like a market, I guess, and it's like 90% Chinese stuff, and then they've got aisles for a couple of other things. So it's technically international, but it's not. And then, it's been there for a long, long time. I've been here for a while. So at different times, there's been a kung fu place nearby, like in the same strip, but it's moved a couple of times. So probably because of that, I'm guessing, because literally they got all those students going to the thing like in the same strip, or because they were somehow involved with each other. But that market would often have not just swords, but how are they even called? Like a giant stick with something crazy at the end, right? Like I don't know what that stuff's called anymore. The like neat stuff that was like for, probably for, I forget what it's not Kenpo, but whatever that's called, where you just basically, is it Tai Chi, where you wing around a big ornamental stick basically with a blade on it? It's sort of a kata or something. But anyway, they had those things, and I've never seen those things for sale. And they looked straight out of a kung fu movie. Like they look cool, like that crazy redwood that they have in China, and big flashy. I don't know if they're called halberds or what the hell they'd be called, but staffs as big as taller than me, even some of them, and then giant blades or axes or craziness at the end made out of metal, bunch of tassels and whatnot. And they weren't even that much money. I'd probably own more of them if I'd have a real job, because I really like that stuff. And it was like, every once in a while you'd see like one broken or something, and I'd buy the hell out of it. Or if it missing a tassel or something, like they'd have them up on the ceiling almost. So if they fell off, I'm sure they broke. And I'd buy that kind of stuff whenever I'd see it cheap. Back in the day, or depending on where I'm at with money or whatever, when I got the money to spend there, I'd go to that place. Maybe not weekly, but every couple of times a month to buy the weird mushrooms and the what is that stuff called? The little tiny exotic lettuce. Can't think of the name now. Choy, maybe bok choy.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. Like they have all that stuff just sitting there right there. And you go to a regular store, you go to like a Walmart or something stupid. You try to buy like a bok choy, you have to take out a loan. You go there, and it's like, yeah, we got tons of it because it's basically grown like Brussels sprouts. Raw coconut, yeah, all kinds of neat stuff in those stores. And of course, you can buy like just gross stuff, fishes and heads of octopus or arm of an octopus that's still squiggling around somehow.
All kinds of parts for sale in those stores.
But no, we just have the one store that I'm aware of. Maybe there's another one that I've missed or something, but I've known that one for a long time. I think most people go to that one, but that's not Chinatown or nothing. That's a store next to the Chevy truck place, next to or across the street from the other place. Like it's not, I don't know if we have a Chinatown in Tucson. So this is going to happen as soon as you spend 3 or 4 weeks putting bacon cartoons up.
Bacon.
This guy.
I remember those stores, G.
I imagine back on your coast, they'd be insane because I can't even imagine. Well, I guess through the mail and stuff.
We had all the Asians too. We had a whole area you could go to, like a whole town, like a place called Wajimaya. I bought actual swords there when I was like 8.
Yeah, we would have like a store at the mall or something that would have that kind of crap. And then like, I remember at some point being into, because I was in martial arts for a little bit. And after a little bit that, when you're in it for a while, you get enough legitimacy that your parents will buy you or let you buy stuff. So I did get driven to places that were like, I guess, Chinatown or neighborhoods that were, full of interesting stores that were like way more authentic than the malls or whatever. But that was only a couple of times, and that still couldn't have been nothing like on the West Coast. where we've actually got, like you say, like that's where people are. Like, they're not just bringing you a taste of it; they're just bringing their taste of home to them, or bringing their home to them.
I'd say 2 out of 3 break pretty easily, and then one was fairly decent. But I mean, they were like $10, and when you're 8 or 9 or 10-year-old, that's a lot of money to you.
You talking about swords?
Yeah.
We didn't really wail on our swords until we were older, just because I don't know, never into it. I liked winging ninja stars and chucks and stuff, but mainly just smacking a tree or smacking a punching bag or something with a chuck. You're not really nothing to break. You know. Yeah, most of the swords were for looking at, right?
Yeah, but we didn't use them for that. We had a sword fight.
But we'd have a whole bunch of, I guess they're just made for, I don't think they're made for anything other than having to be on the wall or whatever, but like the Civil War swords or like the Spanish swords, I guess. I don't know. Swords from like Three Musketeers type of crap. Like those kind of things would be at gun shows too. Sometimes you'd find like a cutlery store or something that would have those kind of things, but they weren't never priced where you could get them or own them. They were, I don't know, for like somebody who's buying it for their den or something, you know, they were going to spend decent money on it, at least compared to like, say, what we had available to us back in those days.
Did you ever get hold of the practice samurai swords that were made out of really hard wood?
Okay, so there are, yes, there's that like redwood, you know, that they
Yeah.
have in China, I guess. So those are, I don't know what there's a name for those, but that's an actual thing. So they're training swords, but they're also, there's a deal where you carry one of them and a sword
Yeah.
because it's a different type of fight or something. So yeah, they're technically like practice, but then there's also the kind that are like split bamboo and it's like a bundle of bamboo. We got both. So I definitely like the wooden ones. And for whatever reason, I did used to go around smacking stuff with like my first ones that I had. So they got all beat up and I bought more, but then it's one of those things that people buy, like we're talking the wood ones now that were
Right.
kind of shaped like a sword, but they're mainly just a piece of wood. People would buy those all the time and then not want it anymore. So I would get those things used and I really like those. Like they're cool. Like they're good for practice and nobody gets scared of them. And they're actually like nobody want to get hit with them either. You know, like they're not really a practice thing as much as they're just not metal, right? Like they would hurt, beat the crap out of somebody with them. So I really liked them. So I definitely have a bunch of those. But then we all had like when I first moved to Arizona, we were younger, and everybody had the bamboo thing. So once we figured out we all had them, we would just get together in somebody's backyard and wail on each other. Have sword fights with that thing.
Hours.
And after we all got older, I just have a bunch of those. Like somehow I have, you know, they were just at my house or something. Like I just have a bunch of those. So I do have a bunch of those also, but they're just all beat up because we used to actually use those wailing on each other.
I was always the kid that was smart enough. I bought hockey gloves.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing when you're not, when you're not wearing like armor and crap, sword fight, because
Yeah, it hurts.
you have to kind of try to smack swords together, which is fake. Because in real life, you're trying to kill somebody, not smack swords together. So it's not really sword fighting as much as making a shit ton of noise in the backyard and getting some energy out, I guess, and having fun. But yeah, you definitely like those little things that are on. I'm talking the bamboo kind, like that little round thing at the hilt or whatever it's called. Doesn't work enough. You're actually smacking each other. So yeah, I could totally see having some kind of glove. Usually that's when those fights would end, is after enough hits to the hand. I mean, you can take a hit or two, but the hits to like your wrist, like right where your thumb hits your wrist, you can only hit that area so many times before you're done. Like, no, I'm done. That hurts a lot. We're done. Or somebody gets it like in the actual arm bone.
Yeah.
Above the wrist, like nobody likes that.
Yeah, we went bruised and
to buy like any kind of armor or never even put on like welding gloves or nothing. But again, we were mostly just making noise, so we weren't trying to hurt each other. we would quit when we hurt each other.
I had one friend that I would do that with, and then the other friends that were like our second tier friends, we beat the crap out of those guys.
It was a couple of us. Yeah, we definitely like doing that. What the hell were we doing back then? We all were working in restaurants, so probably just a nice stress relief and a way to, get shit out. One way. The hell would we have been doing that? Now that I'm thinking about it, we definitely weren't doing it when it's hot as shit. Must have been doing it in the evening, I guess. I can remember that.
Did you ever have wrist rockets back in the day and then just pelt everything?
I've always had wrist rockets. Not pelt everything because we got in trouble, but definitely pretty good with a wrist rocket. Used them quite a bit. Very big advocate of wrist rocketry.
We had a big wooded area by my house where we could go in there and just shoot the shit out of everything.
There's a lot to be said for the just plain old, like you hold it and you don't get any kind of wrist action going, like no wrist benefit. It's just a plain old wrist, plain old slingshot, I guess. A lot to be said for that because of how small it can compact, get it in your pocket or whatever, carry it around easy. But then, when you add the folding wrist thing to it, you're shooting like 2 blocks away. Like you can just shoot that thing forever. Like a ball bearing, goodbye. You're not even gonna watch that thing fly. You're gonna shoot it like an air gun or something, right? Good rock, and you wing that thing halfway across the lake with the wrist brace. And then there's the kind that don't fold, and those are even more. So, barbecue, Angelina, you have any idea what we're talking about? You wrist rocketers?
Some shots.
Well, yeah, except the kind with surgical tubing and usually metal or something so that they can handle the surgical tubing and then super strong. Because a regular slingshot is a rubber band and a piece of wood. Anything can be a slingshot, I guess.
Yep.
Did you have those? Did they let girls use them?
Yeah, I had like guy cousins, so we had a lot of dirt bikes and slingshots and BB guns when I was a kid.
Because that's the thing. You kind of have them as your backup to a BB gun. When BB gun runs out of CO2 or you lose the BBs or something happens and you're not using a BB gun, you've always got a slingshot. That's going to work. We had a lot of wars too. And then you'd bring out slingshots in the winter to knock down snow. Winging ice and rocks and shit can bring down a snow fort pretty good or knock a hole in the wall or something of one.
We would just shoot Kansas because we don't have snow.
We need what without snow?
We don't have snow, so we would just shoot cans and I guess just little targets you set up.
Oh yeah, most of the time. I'm just saying that's one of the ways we would use them, I guess. Because I'm trying to think, we didn't actually use them constantly or nothing because we had BB guns and other things that we would use. But nothing's going to wing a rock over somewhere to make noise like a wrist rocket does, and that's super good if you're having some kind of a war or something and some kind of a skirmish, and you want to make it seem like you're over there. Wrist rockets are really good for taking some giant clump of dirt or something and just hefting it over the trees so that it comes down over there and makes a big ruckus. We did that a lot. So it's not like we would go around using them. There's kinds that have the marbles and stuff, though. Marbles are really good to shoot. Glass marbles. That's a really good ammo. And there's those one model holds a whole bunch of glass marbles in the handle of it. And I always thought that was pretty handy. Throw that in somewhere, and then you've got a couple of decent, whatever you call ammo, a couple of decent shots that you could probably aim pretty good with a marble. But then again, almost anything can be made into slingshot ammo. So even if you only got big stuff, you can smack it around or shave it down, turn it into slingshot ammo. Heck, you can shoot arrows with slingshots if you wanted. All right, well, I'm yawning. I don't know what happened to Woods. You got bad internet or bad computer or bad phone?
It's my phone.
Oh, okay, you just don't have this image. Your image looks weird, but you're there. Otherwise, we're at an hour and 20. Was there any other topics or anything? Still got 8 people out there. This is a conversation, so you can be part of it by typing stuff with your fingers into your computer, and then it'll magically appear in front of all our eyes. What we'll do is read it and then say stuff in response. It works out pretty good. Let's see. So we got Operation. I'm going to start calling it Operation Laser Taxes. I'm going to be putting more work into that. Sounds like there might be an opportunity to rip off a laser from the next state over. And then.
Oh, when you
Well, I don't know, because I had finished shipping everything, and then I went, changed roles to ship all the rest to everybody. And 2 of the things, the gun and the laptop, were low. And I started doing the math. So at a 5% slop, right, that's 30 fucking patches at 600 patches, right? So I'm like, dang it, I don't know if then I'm like 30 low on the gun and on the laptop. So I kept 10 or something, depending on who it was, in case of shipping problems and whatnot. And then I took 10, I guess, and shifted them so everybody got a set, right? So right away, everybody's down 20, just for facilitating it or what. And then, they're down 30 on that. So it's like, dang, now I'm not sending them 200 anymore. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. So that's that. And then other ones, there's a slop. So some of them are the other side. Like I say, some of them got more than 200. I kept 12, sent them more than 200, and there's left over. Like there's some of them are the other way. So it's frustrating. But where was I getting at with that? I don't know where I was going with that. We have to. I guess I was saying that I literally just finished shipping everything. Then I realized that we're low on 2 of them. Being low on 1 is understandable, I guess. But having 2, it's like, dang it. So anyway, that got me. Whatever. I think I was going to say I was done. Like I finished sending the orders out to the 400 backers, and then, or I guess the sets out to the 400 backers, and then the rest to the projects. But because of that, I think I'm going to go back and be like, hey, I don't really want to leave them with 30 low. So what can we do about that? So I guess besides that, it's over. And that's all I was really getting at, is that, I just barely started, well, not the start of this show, but this just afternoon, like I was saying before, I just had finished getting back from, after that error with UPS, just got back from literally finishing the whole thing. Oh, and then the other thing was that one person is deployed, right? So they weren't able to give me an address to ship their patches to until this afternoon. So as soon as I got the address, I printed out the label, everything was already boxed, but I needed to drop that one off too. So anyway, I literally just finished today. So now that's a long ass way of saying now I'm going to start figuring out what's next. But that'll be, I guess, as soon as I figure out what I'm going to do with those remainders or whatever it's called, the slop there, I'll try to figure out how to do that. Because like I was just saying, I'm going to call it laser taxes because I need to figure out my taxes too. That was the other project, I guess, call it, big project I need to get done. So since I need to do that, it'd be easier to do it in Malibu than it would be to do it in Tucson. I have all the conveniences of having everything here. How fun is that? It's much funner to do taxes completely remote where you have nothing to refer to or anything.
But you got the beach.
Yeah, and California.
Yeah, exactly. All the distractions and the beach and the seagulls. Last time I was trying to do taxes, a flock of freaking dolphins, wild dolphins. They just let them run wild in the ocean, I guess. Go flying past me eating fish. And what am I supposed to do? My taxes while I'm watching that kind of stuff happen? seagulls everywhere. My dog knows how to. She figured out when she got out on the beach. Anyway. She was out on the beach and she knows there's these like clams, I guess, or some kind of oyster-looking mollusk thing that grows in the ocean. That she can just go up to the beach randomly, be like right here, and then there's one of them things right there. She figured out how to get them. Doesn't do nothing with them. She just gets them. But back going on. She figured out she likes smelling the open ones. There's a bunch of ones that somebody ate or whatever already, so they're open. So she smelled them. Like, God damn, there's all shit ton of these under the sand. Go look underneath here. Go look underneath here. There's one down here too. Let's see what else. And then seagulls. Seagulls are doing pretty neat. I didn't quite get one to fly into the van, but I'll bet you could do it.
Yeah, just put a bag of chips in there, like an open bag of chips, and that thing will go in there.
Because they were getting pretty ballsy after a while. I think after being there for a while, they figure, nobody's gonna run out of here with a pitchfork or nothing. So they start getting more ballsy. And the best part is when you're parked there, the doors of the van open, doing your taxes, and you look out and there's some seagull just chilling. He's flying, or she's flying. I'm not gonna be sexist. So the seagull is flying, but they're really just hanging there. They're not doing anything. They're just like hanging out, being a seagull with their wings out. But the wind is flying past them, so that they're just there and they're kind of looking around and eyeballing what's going on. And then all they got to do is adjust their feathers, and then the wind catches. They take the wind and go somewhere. But that part was pretty neat, and they did that a couple of times while I was sitting there. I'd look up and there's a seagull eyeballing me.
So I feel like you have to do taxes at Malibu from now on, right?
I don't know. It just seems like it's better there. It's better than doing it in Tucson. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not, but that's what I'll be. That'll be the next project on the horizon, Operation Laser Taxes. All right, well, so there's quiet, and nobody did say nothing, even though I appealed to their conversational skills. We did have a couple people join in tonight, though. I think we missed this one before. Wheel and Well Arm was saying this kid went to his mom's house and found an old cap gun that was broken. 2 cap guns for 5. Oh, I see what you're saying. 2 cap guns for $5 on eBay. Yeah, that's the thing. You can find all kinds of neat stuff. And I was looking at eBay for those Uzi squirt guns, and what's crazy is how many things you can still find that are in the box. Like, it must be stores that failed, and then some other store bought the whole store or something, and they knew that some of this, they must have had some concept that the stuff would be worth something as collector's items, or I don't know. But there certainly seems to be a lot of stuff that's still in the package that you would never think would still be in the package anymore. Just little stuff like that, and there's no reason to keep it. That's the weird part. You would think that it would just be considered garbage, 10 years after it was created. And now that it's 50 years later, I guess I can understand keeping it. You were saying 5 and dimes before, and I think we're talking a different level. 5 and dimes were more like candy, and they were like drugstores, right? Like, that was like a drugstore would have a couple of toys. But these stores would be more like 30% toys, maybe, like 30% office supplies, and then like 30% housewares, maybe. Where I think a 5 and dime was more like candy and drugstore stuff, like pills and elixirs and that kind of thing. Or maybe it's just the 5 and dimes I went into.
Yeah, ours were a little different than that.
And then there's the penny stores that I've seen just going into recreations of them, and they were totally different. Those were oldie or whatever. They have one of those kind of things like in Tombstone. And they're fake, so they're more like just gifts and stuff. Anyway, all this talk about technical things scared the girl away. So we're an hour and a half into it. Barbecue's not even saying nothing. He's just here for the cash. He's just here for the paycheck. I guess she still didn't get what's coming to her. So I got the thing that I sent to Matt in like September 3rd. I got that in the mail today. So when I sent it to Matt's wrong address on September 3rd, it took almost a month to get back to me. And now I get to pay another $4 to send him, to his right address. I'm guessing the thing I sent to her and to you was like a week after that. So imagine like in a week, I'll get the thing back from her and I'll send it to her right address. But at that point, I guess we'll talk about stuff that you all got first of. But otherwise,
You sent me stuff?
What?
You sent me something? You didn't send me anything.
No, barbecue. One doesn't say anything.
Oh.
No, I sent him and Angelina some stuff that's like, the first of on the same day. And I sent it to her address, but not her actual address. And her post office all like, we need to know the actual address. So instead of like reading the top where it says her name or whatever, and then there's not 7,000 people here. There's only like 100 or something. Like I can maybe figure out is the same name. Maybe I'll shove it in there. Maybe I'll ask them if this is for them. No, they wouldn't do that. And then I've tried calling the post office to say, hey, you've got this thing that says it's being held. So can I give you the correct address? Can I give you the rest of the address so you can deliver it? That didn't work. And I think she went to the post office for something else and said, oh, by the way, you got something, give me it. And they wouldn't give her down either. So I think that's because it's on its way to me, though. So it's probably, halfway back here.
Government efficiency.
Well, I'm not too complaining. I mean, it isn't perfect or nothing, but on the same thing, I'm not going to be too bad. They are cheaper than UPS for whatever reason. I'm not really complaining at all because USPS is actually pretty damn cheap, considering what they're doing for me at least. But then, like this today, when I went in there and dropped the 2 UPS things off, well, I don't know. I guess it would have been nice if they would have answered the phone and told me, oh, don't worry about it. UPS comes by here once a month and they'll just take it then. But instead, they just didn't answer the phone because they were too busy. So because they didn't answer the phone, I had to go down there. And when I went down there, I had to wait in line. Wait in line. So by the time I waited in line and everything, then I learned, well, you didn't even need to come down here technically. It speeded up the process for them, receivers of the packages, but they would have eventually got their packages and I wouldn't have been charged anything. But whatever. It cost me a couple of 20, 30 minutes to learn that lesson. But at the same time, I guess I got in there and I was thinking, because the parking lot was full. And then this isn't a giant parking lot. I mean, a giant post office by any means. So I figured it would either be empty, like nobody goes to it, or the other way, right? Like it would be constantly swamped. And I got there and it was a line of, I don't know, it's hard to tell lines anymore. They stand so far apart from each other. Let's say 20 minutes though, so a bunch of people. And they said, they even had a sign up that said like, hey, if you got something that you cannot do here, don't do it here. There's only 2 people working here. And these other post offices have more people working. So go to these other ones. And they gave you the address and stuff. But even with all of that, and I was thinking, I was sort of got there, read that sign, saw the line of people and thought, great, I'll be here all after, till the rest of till tomorrow or something. And it still only took 20 minutes. I mean, all said and done. By the time I was in the car leaving, I looked at the clock and I was like, I think the whole thing was like 29 minutes or 21 minutes. I forget. But most of the time, honestly, it was waiting in line. But I would say half the time was me waiting for the guy once I told him what my deal was and him looking for the packages. He had to walk away. I don't think this is a regular post office. I think one of the reasons it's kind of where it is, I think it's one of the hubs or something where there was just too many trucks and shit there. So I think he had a pretty big room or building or whatever to have to get across to find wherever they keep the UPS stuff. So anyway, I spent just so much time kind of just standing there waiting for him than I did waiting for everybody else in line. So I'm not going to complain too bad. It is stupid that we have to go through these stupid hoops, but I'm going to still try to be optimistic and give the government workers except for like this one lady who's mean to me at my post office. I've had pretty decent luck. I'm not going to lie. Pretty decent luck at post offices lately. For as few times as I go in there, they're pretty efficient. And then there's this, like I say, when you drop a package off, at least by here, they're mostly in these big things, like size of a refrigerator with like a weird scoopy looking thing on the front. And you put your package in there and you kind of like combination lock it in there and then you walk away. Well, they can only put like 6 packages in that thing and it's full. So every once in a while, this dude comes out and he's got this big, whatever, mail tub, bathtub looking thing on wheels. And he comes out and gets all those. He actually replaces the one that's in the machine. Like takes that one out, puts the new empty one in there. And then he's usually, except for all this year, when it's stupid, usually he's just all like, hey, anybody wants to throw stuff in here, go for it, Like this is direct line straight to the post office. Like you don't have to wait in line. So, I'm not even kidding. Like half the time I go there, that guy happens to be doing his route. So I don't even have to wait in line. Like when I normally would go to the post office, I just wait for that guy, or that guy would end up coming out. And because 99% of the time I'm just dropping off something big that already has labels and shit all on it from at home. So I literally just have to pass it off to them. So I don't know. I guess if I was had more complicated issues or something, I might be madder at them. But I understand why people don't like post office, but I just want to give them whatever, try to be as fair as possible. Because that's what we do at this show. We only talk about guns, and we're fair and honest, as opposed to other chats, which would jump on the bandwagons. I don't think we got anything new, though. Just Will and Will are talking about the caps, I guess. Brand new in the packaging, 12 sheets of the 12 rings. Wait, 12 new sheets of cap, 12 ring caps with 8. Yeah, I got you. $8. You can refill those too, FYI. If the plastic part doesn't get too smashed, sometimes the plastic part gets smashed. But you basically, it was something like, I forget if you used alcohol or water, but you just took the fronts off of the white parts off of matches, and you kind of turn that into a paste. I don't remember what the fluid was, but you'd make that into a little paste and then dab it back in there, and then let it dry. And got the things reused.
Well,
I never did, but I seen it on the internet way back in the day, like in AOL days. So I don't know if there might be YouTube videos that tell you like a better recipe or something, but you can definitely refill or reload, I guess. You ever seen the little bombs where you put
I had those, the paper ones.
No. Like it's a piece of metal. You would buy this piece of metal and you put the paper caps that are red in a paper strip. You would put. Wait, did it have the whole strip in there? I don't remember if you. I think
you could put 2 or 3 in. You didn't have to put in one.
But I mean, you didn't put the whole strip in. I think you were supposed to just charge it. You'd wing in the air or something. It would hit the ground and go off.
Right.
Those things were pretty neat. I only had a couple of those, and you would think we'd had a lot more of those. It's just that I guess nobody bought them for us. We never asked for them. That would be pretty cool, though. Take something with those white things, because now you're talking the ones that look like little sperms, the ones that are paper, and you wing them and they explode.
Right.
Do something like that with a hand grenade, where you can, have the mass of a hand grenade, but then those little paper things are the things that go off. There's some potential there. Take like a tennis ball and then dip it in glue and then wait for it to get tacky and then stick a whole bunch of those snap caps on there and then wing that. It would hit. It would make a whole bunch of them go off, and then hopefully, like if you hit a wall, a whole bunch of them would go off and hit the wall, and then it would hit the ground and a whole bunch would go off. If you did it on like a racquetball, maybe it would bounce and then a whole bunch more would go off. But if you bounced to took like a racquetball and put a bunch of them things on there, and then threw it, it would definitely go off when it hit the wall, and then maybe hit another wall and go off, and then maybe hit the floor or something else. It would bounce around a little bit, and eventually go off. Then there's also some sort of deals where you get 2 balls and you smack them together and they make a noise. So what if you could just take something where you take all those snap caps apart and turn that into a paste, wipe that on the outside of a ball, and then every time you throw it, every time the ball bounces, it makes a noise. As long as it's in a new part of the material.
Yeah, it was definitely never that fancy.
No, that might be a little tougher. It would probably be hard to keep the material on the rubber ball anyway. Like you could have a crust that a rubber ball is inside of, but as soon as it hits something, it falls right off. But anyway,
The tennis ball idea probably worked.
a couple of times. At least it would be the kind of thing that would keep a kid occupied for a couple of hours, maybe trying to figure it out. And it probably wouldn't hurt too bad. It wouldn't really catch nothing on fire. It probably couldn't. I don't know. I suppose if you took a tennis ball and taped a whole bunch of them deals to it and then wung it at somebody, it would make noise maybe when it hit them, but I don't think it would hurt. I don't think it would burn or nothing. It would happen too fast, right? It would be too little of a thing. Even if 2 or 3 of them hit somebody, I don't think they would hurt.
Well, I mean, haven't you ever thrown those little snappets at your friends?
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever just snapped one? Like put one in
they
between
just
your
in your hand. Yeah.
You know, like they don't really hurt. It's just that I don't know. I mean, if you did that though to a little kid, they'd act like it hurt them. You know what I mean? Like, so some people are gonna feel like they got hurt, even if they never actually get burned. You know what I mean? So I guess that's the trauma that it creates as a person. Because I'm just trying to, I can think of, just as you said that, I'm like, well, of course, but I can think of 2 people that would freak out, like, as if I hit them with a ball peen hammer if I threw one of them things at them. Even though, you know, nothing actually physically. All right, well, I tried getting out of this a couple of times. Now we're at 1:41. Main thing for me is that it eats my night. Like I only have so much. It's still 100 degrees out here. Keep in mind, it was 97 today, but the last 4 days it's been 101 here. It gets down to 70 something at night, which is nice. But I'm definitely living the overnight lifestyle here, trying to not live in the 100-degree heat during the day. So this is my working time. So we're not having like a raging gun conversation. I'm going to end it at an hour here, or I mean at 2 hours here. This is, like I say, this is eating my night, and this is my working time. So, like I said, unless everybody has anything else, I don't want to cut off something mid-sentence or mid-topic, or throw something out there. We've had a pretty good chat tonight. Appreciate everybody showing up. Do you guys want to say anything before we head out?
No, I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for jumping in. I've been throwing the bacon cartoons out there. I feel like putting a bunch of M&Ms out there. Eventually, you'd come run. You'd
Well, it worked.
And then I just leave the door open. You come in. So we'll keep chatting as more people get their batches. I'll get some more feedback. So far, been pretty good. It's always scary when you send out 400 things when the first people get them and you are still packaging the end, right? So that initial feedback on how I was packaging them correctly, like if they came in good shape or not, like that's important because I can still do something for the last ones, right? But now they kind of just happen so quickly there. There's not much I can do. Like they're already out. So if I screwed up something, I'm just now finding out about it. It happened to everybody. So luckily it doesn't sound like anything happened. And we'll keep listening because I think only the first, 200 maybe are out there to people. It's weird when I go back and look at the list from when I sent them, because that's how the thing is organized. There's people that on the first day that I sent stuff, Wednesday night, I've already got them, of course. But then there's also people where it still says like the print is just, or that I've just printed the label. Like they don't even recognize that they've got it at the post office yet. And that's almost not ever the case. It's just that it hasn't updated, after all this time. But yeah, so it's just crazy. And then of course I sent a couple that I would have thought would take forever, and they're already there. So it's just going to be weird here for the next week or so, watching at what rate everyone kind of gets theirs. But then it'll be fun to have conversations about them. And did you get yours yet, Woods?
I didn't order Patch Patch.
Oh, okay. So you're never going to get it. You'll never know what they're like. Bacon or barbecue's got his though.
We don't know. Barbecue doesn't talk to us anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't really say nothing. But I think the people that did get them are taking them, and like I say, they're really 3D. I've been copying off Angelina and went more 3D with these. So anyway, it'll be neat to see as people get them and start to fiddle with them, what their experiences are, and then we'll all get bored of them and go on to the next thing. So appreciate everybody jumping in. Oh, there's 11 people in here now, but nobody's saying anything. So let's see, we got Building Well Armed, Woods, Ozzy, that's real person. DCP, legit. Did I already say Ozzy? Yeah. So Mystic, if she's still here, and that was a while ago. So it's like, how many creeps? Creepy, what am I calling them? Creepy, what do you call them? I forget what I'm calling the creepy lurkers. The creepy lurkers. Oh, here's Dudak, you got one. So is this a Tucson person? Not sure. I guess because of the cactus. Right on, thank you. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there. So had a good evening, got a good chat, and we're ending it. So we'll be back same time tomorrow. And I think I already set up all the chats for the week. So we'll see if that has any effect on, what's the word, on the alerts. But more than likely, I think it's going to screw the alerts over. I think it's bad news to post your stuff more than a few hours ahead of time because the alerts all went out today more than likely. So I don't know if you'll have to give me some feedback, but I'm guessing no one will get an alert tomorrow because I posted the show today, like tomorrow's show today. I posted the rest of the week today. So I guess I'll have to try to remember to ask people, but I suspect I just killed any updates or any alerts, I guess, because like I say, I think that all your alerts went out today, or they should have gone out and they saw that it's scheduled, so they just removed the alert from the alert list. But I guess that's something we'll find out. I'm done talking. Be back up later.